Hi there, David here, and in this video, I'd like to share with you 5 sound design plugins that I use on a regular basis as a sound designer creating sound effects, and that are currently on sale this Black Friday. So what I'd like to do and share with you are the plugins and how I use them. And if you want to know more information about them, I'll have links in the description below. They are going to be affiliate links, so if you do click on them and purchase, it will be supporting me and my channel, so I appreciate that and thank you ahead of time. But even if you don't, I hope you found value in this video and hopefully maybe learn something and maybe pick some of them up regardless. All right, so with that said, let's get into our first sound design plugin. All right, so let's start with our first sound design plugin. And the first one is actually not a sound design specific plugin, but it is a plugin that I highly recommend to everyone, especially if you're starting out. And that plugin is SonarWorks Sound ID. So right now I have SonarWorks Reference 4, which is like their older version. So I'll be upgrading to their Sound ID this year. But yeah, so what it does, for those who may not be aware, basically any speakers that you're listening audio through, speakers, headphones, anywhere that you're listening audio through, everything is, all those speakers are always colored. There's some sort of coloration. There's some sort of EQ curve that is specific to that speaker. And what SonarWorks attempts to do is flatten that frequency response so that you can get a truest possible representation of whatever sound that you're listening to. And the reason for that is that if you, let's say you're working on in your DAW and creating sounds, whenever you're done and you export your sounds, well, whatever system that you're listening to, the idea is that it would basically be represented well on whatever system or speakers or headphones that you're listening to. Right, so that is what it's doing, is basically creating as flat as possible of a frequency response so that you can get a true idea of what your audio sounds like and how it's going to be represented across various speakers. Now, the other thing that it takes into account is your room coloration. So specifically for speakers, obviously the sound of your room is going to affect how you're going to hear. So of course, when you get it, if you get the one for the speaker studio speakers, then they'll also send you like a microphone that you can use to test and get the frequency response of your room so that it can take that into consideration as well. So yeah, super valuable. As soon as I got it, when I first got it a couple of years ago, it completely and drastically changed how I was doing audio, and it just made me so much more of a better audio engineer, and just my hearing was so much better because I knew kind of, it was just more accurate. I knew exactly where to do curves, EQ curves where I didn't before. Things that sounded good were not sounding good. Things that weren't sounding good did sound good across different speakers. So, you know, it just drastically improved my output. All right, so just a little tip with SonarWorks. What I recommend you do is put it on a monitoring channel. So what this does is whenever you are working inside of your DAW, it won't affect the output. So whenever you're exporting something, it won't, this EQ curve that is applied to the audio will not be applied to your output audio, which is not what you want, right? This is just for your speakers, only for you in your specific room that you're working in, right? So you only want it to be applied whenever you are in that specific situation. Outside of that, you never want it to be applied. So when you're putting it on the monitoring channel here, then it's only going to be applied when you're in that room and listening to that audio, but it's not going to affect it when you're exporting it out. So here you can turn it on inside of Reaper like this. Generally, I leave it off because my system wide is always applied, even when Reaper is open. So that's something you might want to test, is make sure that you're not applying the EQ twice, once when it's in the monitoring channel and then once on the system wide. So, but yeah, that's it. So this is the first plugin, super highly recommended, really great and useful. All right, the second plugin that I have here is Uber Loud by Boom Library. So this I use quite often. It's really great just for making sounds louder if they're kind of soft or kind of weak. Or if you just want to drastically change up the sound and the frequency balance of the sound, then you can use this to do that. So let me show you kind of some examples here so you can have a listen to how it actually works in a real life situation here. So here I have a sounds like this. I'm going to take this off. All right, so this was like a air pressure thing that I had recorded. Right? Sounds okay. Now let's turn on Uber Loud here and see what kind of sounds we can do here. All right, so here you can see I have the clipper turned up, and I also have the push all the way up. So right, completely changes the sound, the frequency balance. Let's try something different. Let's put this down here. Let's put the clipper all the way down. right? So there's kind of three parts to this plugin, the way that you can use it. One is you have your mode, if you want to have 1 band, 2 band, or 3 band, right? So this is kind of like a multi-band compressor, but they have their own algorithm behind it. So I think it's like a combination of like maximizer and other things. They also have characters. So this is like distortion, I think. It sounds a lot like it's doing some kind of distortion whenever you're doing this. So this is the least, and then you have a medium and most, right? And then after that, you kind of have your clipper up here to add some clipping. And then you also have your denoise. And what this is going to do is remove some of that high-end frequency noise when you start to push the plugin a lot. So it can make your sounds a bit nicer to listen to. So, but yeah, apart from that, that's pretty much it. You have your wet dry knob, and that's it. So the way that I like to use it is, one, I might just put it on, and if I have a sound that's like kind of quiet or weak, I might just push it up with just the 1 band like this. And then the other way that I like to use it, I rarely use the 2 band, but the other way that I use it is with the 3 band here. And this I like to use just to bring out certain frequencies in the sound. So usually it's, it's either going to be the lows or the mids or the highs. The highs, I like to use it to make sounds like feel a bit closer to you. Lows, I like to push to get some bass out of it. This sound doesn't really have one. And then the mids. Right, so you can be as gentle with it or as aggressive as you want with it. So it's kind of nice for that. All right, so that is uber loud. All right, the third plugin here that I have is Track Spacer by Waves Factory. And what this is it's kind of like a dynamic EQ that cuts out frequencies from one sound in another sound. So let me show you kind of what it is so it makes a bit more sense. So first off, I have these two like whooshes here. So I have this one, and I also have this one here. When I play them together, it sounds like this. I'm going to turn off Track Spacer here. Right, sounds okay. This layer here kind of gets lost in the mix. This one is quite a bit louder and fuller. So I kind of lose this one, but I still want this one to come out more. So what I can do is I can send this sound here into here. Yeah, I'm going to send the second whoosh into this first track here into Track Spacer, and now I can. Let's have a listen to what it's doing just on tone like this. Right, so it's ducking out this first sound, but only using the frequency response of this whoosh here. So whatever EQ curve this has, it's doing an inverse curve and applying it to this sound here. And then I can control how much of it, the ratio, is being applied with this huge knob here. So right now it's quite aggressive, so you don't get a nice balance of the two. But if I bring it down quite a bit, you can get this nice balance of the two sounds. Right? Now you can quickly apply this and hear those two sounds really nicely. So if I take it off, it sounds like this. Right, you kind of miss that second sound, and you get a lot of that first whoosh here, but I want both of them in here. Right, it's just a lot more balanced, right? So this is just one quick example. Let's try another example here. So I have this impact here that I want to add to this whoosh. So I'm going to mute this second here. Yeah, so I've muted this one here. Let's add this impact to the second whoosh. So together it sounds like this. All right, you barely hear this impact here. You can barely even hear it. So I'm just going to route that into Track Spacer here. As a side chain, let's go to 3 and 4. Let's turn Track Spacer on again, and let's just have a listen to what it does. Right, again, I think it's a little bit aggressive here. Let's try it again with a bit less. Right, so if we turn it off, you get this. Kind of just this big mumble jumble of sound, and this now adds clarity. Right, so just doing this, especially when you have a ton of layers that you start to add, it can just make your sound super, super clean, and you can just get exactly the precise sound that you want and the precise balance of sounds that you want within your layer. So this is a plugin that I use quite a lot, especially when I'm layering sounds together. It's just super, super useful and just super easy to use. All right, so let's go to this fourth plugin that I have here, and our fourth sound design plugin is Reformer Pro by Krotos Audio. And what Reformer Pro does is it takes some sort of dynamic input to create and generate sound effects. So let me show you what that might look like. So using something like my voice, for example, I could also use a MIDI keyboard, or you can just use their knobs that they have here. You can create some effects. So let me show you. So right now we're blending between 4 different sound libraries. So we have a Leopard Pro, Electronic Pro, Fruit Squash Pro, and Leather Foley Pro. But let's say if I just go to Leather Pro, Black Leopard Pro. Right, so that's just using this amplitude knob here. You can also do the same thing with like MIDI, if I want to play on my MIDI keyboard. So I'm just going to activate my input here. Right, so just holding it down a note, I can create. It's just going to go and search through all the files within this library and then kind of dynamically pick from them and blend them together. So that's really cool. So again, I use this knob here. I can use a MIDI keyboard, or I can use something like my voice. So I'm just going to route my voice in here. Right, so hopefully you can start to see how this can get really powerful. What's cool is that now I can blend within 4 different sound libraries. Plus, what's also really great is that you can actually go and create your own libraries here. So using sounds and folders that you have on your own computer, you can go here, choose your folder, and create your own sound libraries that you can pick from by clicking on here. So if I click on... All right, so if I click on one of these sounds here, it's going to open up this menu where I can search for sound libraries that I've already created here. I'm just going to search for some that I've done before. So I've done like a steampunk version of like different sound effects that I've created. So I can just choose that in here, drag that in here. I can go in here, and now it's just going to use sound files that I've already designed, already created, and now I can generate even more sounds using this, right? So it's a lot of fun, and you just have a lot of potential with this plugin that just with the kind of sounds that you can create is just, it's really great. So this is Reformer Pro. All right, and finally, our last plugin here for our video is going to be NVK Create. And this is a fantastic plugin. It's actually not a plugin, it's actually a Reaper script. So you do need to have Reaper to use this, but it's super useful and super valuable, and I highly recommend it, especially if you have a Reaper. So what this does is it's basically a search engine. So that's the first thing it can do. So you can just search through your databases within a Reaper here. So let's say I just want some sort of, I don't know, magic spell sound or something. Man, I have all my magic spell sounds here that I can go through. Right, so that's cool. But where it actually shines is when you do your multi-layer mode. So by pressing the tab here with this open, I can now create multiple layers, multiple layered sound effects. So here, for example, let's say I want 20 variations of a sound effect. So I want to have only magic spell sounds, and I want it to have, let's say, 3 layers, and they're going to be, let's say, no more than 3 seconds in length. The pitch can be randomly pitched up or down 9 semitones. Offset will be 0.08, so really not much offset. I don't want too much offset here. No reverse sounds, and then I'm not going to randomize the take. Yeah, so that's it. So let's see what it can do here. I'm just going to press enter. All right, so that was rendered in real time. I did not edit this part of the video. And here you go. I already have 20 sound effects here that I can now go through and just listen to what was created. So let's have a listen to this. Cool. Right, so hopefully you get the idea here. This was just using only magic spells and only layering 3 together and just quickly putting it together like this. Like, that was super quick and easy and fun, and you can come up with a whole bunch of different variations, a whole bunch of different fun sounds that you can generate just using this. So this is NVK Create. Now I can do actually quite a bit more than that. Like I know that you can put it so you can see the output on a track channel, and then you can like drag it into your DAW or something like that. Anyways, I don't really use that, but I do want to show you another way that I do like to use it, and that is here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna create multiple channels here. All right, so let's say that you wanted to create some sound effects. So one way that you could do that I've shown you is to just print a bunch out like this, and you can print hundreds out. Like I only did 20 here, but you can print even more. Or what you can do is just go here, and if you have NVK Create open here, you can just leave it like this. Let's say you already have, actually you can just do like this. You can choose the databases that you want. Once that is chosen, you can go into here, and now you can use your track here as a search field. So let's say I want something like an impact here, a kick here, and let's just do a spell here, okay? Now I can just select these 3 tracks, and I can select NVK Replace. So there's 2 scripts when you get NVK Create. One is NVK Create, which just opens up the script here, and one is NVK Replace, which replaces sounds that you've already put into here. So, but if you don't have any sounds, you can just hit NVK replace, and bam, I just got a sound here. So now, if let's say I go back again beside here, let's do it again. Let's do it again here. Nope, gotta get all selected. Let's have all of them selected. Right, so I can just keep going here and just creating these sound effects this way. Right, and I can create sound effects like that if I don't want to necessarily generate them out. So that when that is useful is, let's say you just have this one here that you don't like, you can just hit replace again until you find one that you do like. Then you can come beside here again and then just do the same thing and then keep on finding something until you have the one that you do like and that you want to keep, and then keep going that way. Right, so instead of like generating a whole bunch like this, you can work this way. So it just completely depends how you want to work with it. Right, so that is NVK Curate in a very quick nutshell. Super powerful. You can do so much with it, and I use that quite often. It's just really, really, really good. All right, so if you want to see another video that I made about NVK Create, I'll put it right here, so make sure to check it out.